This is just into CNN. The Kremlin spokesperson says President Vladimir Putin will be speaking soon, saying that he will, quote, make a number of important statements this evening. Keep in mind, it is 9:30 p.m. in Moscow, so this should be very soon. And it's already getting late there as he has to make these important statements as they're describing them. Moments ago here in the U.S., the White House reiterating that there was no U.S. or Western involvement whatsoever in the rebellion by the Wagner Group in Russia. In the meantime, the State Department saying that the U.S. does not know the location of the group's leader, Yevgeny Prigozhin. I want to bring in senior fellow at the Atlantic Council, Michael Bocherque. I want to talk to you a little bit about where we are, where this moment is, because State Department spokesman Matthew Miller just said that this is the most dangerous situation that has happened since the beginning of the war. You are waiting, as we all are, to see what Putin is going to be saying tonight. And I wonder, considering this isn't really a position of strength that he is in, what he is trying to do here to manage this narrative as you see it.
Yeah, good to be with you again, Brianna. Well, look, I happen to not subscribe to the consensus view that this was a genuine coup. In fact, if you asked me to put a bumper sticker on this, I would say Russian coup ? And the reason I say that is because I think this might have actually been a very well scripted attempt by Mr. Putin to do what he always does, play different factions against each other, to test people's loyalty, to do a bit of house cleaning at the top. And also, it might have been an opportunity as well for him to signal to the West that, look, there are worse autocrats or con men than myself in the form of Mr. Prigozhin. He has quite the rap sheet against him. So it remains to be seen. But look, I was raised in the house of a renowned Sovietologist, and from a very early age, I was taught to question everything you see spoken by the Kremlin or whatever they project.
I mean, you're describing quite some chess there. So explain how that would work if you had Vladimir Putin looking at all of these statements recently here from Yevgeny Prigozhin, where he is really challenging Putin, where he is lambasting the Russian government. What then would you expect that Putin may have done as you see this outcome here?
Yeah, well, I think these are two individuals who are very codependent on each other. On the one hand, Mr. Putin is responsible for Mr. Prigozhin being elevated from a crook to a hot dog vendor to basically the catering operation for the Russian military. And also, Mr. Prigozhin runs, compared to some Western European armies like Belgium or Netherlands, a really significant force. It's a conglomerate that raises a lot of money for the Putin war machine. And let's not forget, the American authorities have blamed Mr. Prigozhin for influencing U.S. elections, meddling, and also spreading false news. So I can't really believe that Mr. Putin would get rid of Mr. Prigozhin that quickly. He needs this. He needs him very badly. We may even see him rehabilitated in some way.
Very interesting. Where do you think, we just heard from John Kirby speaking from the White House briefing room, that the U.S. does not know where Prigozhin is at this point. Where do you think he could be? Where do you think he may be headed? Ultimately, Belarus, as we've been told. What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you what he won't be doing. He won't be riding a Belarusian tractor into the sunset. He won't be digging potato fields there, nor will he be going into exile in the jungles of Africa where Wagner has operations. So I think he'll reemerge in one way or another. Given the way, Brianna, how hopeless the Russian military has performed, I think this rehabilitation may take place. We're also getting reports, don't forget, that Wagner is beginning recruiting again of fighters. So it's just really, really difficult to fathom that he would disappear off the face of the earth. But having said that, stranger things have happened to opponents or people who are suspected of opposing Mr. Putin, falling out of hotel windows, drinking poison cocktails, that sort of stuff.
Yes, which you hear time and again. You mentioned Wagner's presence in Africa. Wagner has a presence in Syria. The presence in Africa is incredibly lucrative for Russia, right? Some of the money that is brought in from mining there and different operations there, criminal ventures, the U.S. would label this. Mm-hmm. What does that mean for Putin and for Russia as he proceeds here?
Yeah, well, Russia is very dependent on this type of revenue because they have had, oil revenue choked off in various places, especially oil and gas here in Europe. So I think, for example, in the DRC, Wagner Group is said to have substantial revenue from diamond mining in neighboring countries to the tune of $1 billion a year. Putin and the Kremlin cannot afford to have that source of income cut off right now. The other thing I'd say is that, the difference between Mr. Prigozhin and some of the senior Russian military leaders is that Prigozhin has been seen at the front line. He has very strong loyalty among his men. So this is a fighting force that if it were immediately disappeared from the front line, it would really affect Russia's chances, I think, of getting further into Ukraine.
Yeah, so much to watch here and see how this develops. Michael Botryk, thank you so much for helping us understand this.
My pleasure.